This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me loud and clear? All right. So overall, a extremely profitable day out there, based off of almost every single thing that we spoke about this morning. Ended up making one move or another, as well as just some really great trades coming out. Now, the first thing I got to talk about is this TLRY, because you want to talk about a big trade, just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, today another $21.88 from top to bottom, just absolutely unbelievable. And I know we had just talked about this in class when we were going over TLRY, and then I said, when you see a stock like this, the orders are so unbelievably thin that when you see a big grouping of prints, what that means is that it's not going to be a little move. Okay, the difficulty of trade that gets involved in that is just incredible. And if you go over to the high percentage plays channel, I put both of them in there. I put the 149. We ended up getting a giant pullback all the way down to almost 140, about 140.25. Trigger back up, and it just never looked back. It went all the way up to 150. You're talking about from if you would have gotten in over 141. That was a $9 trade towards the upside. And then we had a huge print that came in at that 150 level. We ended up pulling back all the way to about 144 and didn't really get a great trigger as it was coming back up. But then if we look over here, we did get a decent one, and it's just continuing to go. Now, one thing that, especially with these cheaper stocks, with stocks like this with the thinner orders, it's one big print can change the aspect of exactly where the stock is looking to go. And in this case, there was nothing but buying as we were coming up, even to the 145 level. So I said when it pulled back, we were going to have to end up going back up. And just an absolutely phenomenal trade. Did anyone get that? I know a bunch of you have been putting in the profit and losses and stuff, and a bunch of you were able to get it, but it was just, you're talking about a monster trade. So let's talk about AMD. And first of all, we're definitely going to keep TLRY on our list coming into the afternoon, because it just has so much movement in this thing. Even when a little move in it is $1, and that's once again, $1 is a huge amount for us to be making on trades, let alone $9 coming back up and then being able to come back over here over that 148 and pretty much making it all the way up to 154. So our high being 153.88, and we ended up coming back down off of that, so giving a trigger. So it looks like we're going to get a pretty decent pullback in our near future before we're going to end up seeing this thing go back up. So let's talk about AMD. AMD, I literally I drew you guys the chart yesterday. Okay, and I'm going to pull it up. Let's see. Let's go to high percentage plays. All right, and I'm going to put this in our chat, and I want to just point out what this is, because you know what? I know, I make this joke all the time. Our company's called the head of the charts, but it's literally because we should be getting to a point with understanding the prints, what the actual stock itself should look like. All right, so if we look over here, this picture right there, this line, you can see there's no volume bar there. I drew this bar in yesterday, telling you guys exactly what the stock should look like today. Okay, now by looking, we needed to end up pulling back down underneath this consolidation a little bit. Okay, so the bar, we knew exactly what was going to happen. Not only this morning, we knew like yesterday afternoon, and we have to do something that we have to think about is if a story should be happening and it doesn't happen in the afternoon, we're going to have to wait till the next day. So everyone that constantly kept asking the question is AMD still going to pull back? Is AMD still going to pull back? Is AMD still going to pull back? It had to. It didn't matter what we saw coming into today, based off of the monster controlling prints that we saw yesterday. It had to. All right, there was just no other option. Okay, it doesn't matter what prints come in. That person was first to the table. That person is still going to have to make their money. And you can see this chart right here. And then when I posted it afterwards, okay, look at this bar. This is the bar that I drew in yesterday. And keep in mind, this was yesterday before the close. This was about 3:30 yesterday. And then if you look at the bar itself now, and we could look, right there, you can see from that's when I put it this morning after I was done with classes. But look at the bar. Look at this bar compared, and look at where it is compared to what I drew in. It's almost, to an extent, it's almost exact. And are we there yet? Are we there? So that's the point. That's the whole goal of classes. That's the whole goal of me, you guys asking questions for Traders Exchange and us doing that class every single week, is to understand, to be able to draw the chart the day before it even happens. Because it's that simple. When you get huge controlling prints, we call them controlling prints, red dress, whatever you want to call them, because it's controlling what's going to happen with the stock to an extremely, extremely high percentage. And AMD was just an absolutely phenomenal short. Now, one thing I am going to tell you is that we have a triple bottom, basically, that came back down here. Based off the amount of selling we saw at 32, I still think it should have room. My expectations from that were at least $1. So it's kind of just getting stuck in consolidation. Volume is not great out there. I mean, Apple's trading 34,000 shares a minute. You have Facebook trading 23,000 shares. There's just not a lot that's going on out there. So, it's definitely a slower afternoon. So I don't know if I'm expecting too much. Well, I know I'm not expecting too much from AMD. But I certainly do expect more pullback before we end up seeing this thing take up back off towards those prints at 30, that huge buying that we have at 34 and 33 and 34. Okay, this is a pullback. This isn't selling. It's just that the person at 32 knew that it was going to have to pull back, so they're riding the stock down. Overall, the bigger positions are still on that long side, and we'll still be expecting those. But at the end of the day, the ultimate goal of every single person here is to literally be able to put on a chart what the chart should look like, coming from the story that you're seeing within these prints. And I mean, I told you, we put this out there yesterday. I can't make this stuff up. All right. So being ahead of the chart literally tells us what we're going to be trading and where our high probability trades are going to be. Moving along from this morning, we had JD out there, which just JD, I mean, it made a beautiful move. I had classes at 10, so I didn't really get to watch it. So I really have no idea whatsoever what the story is. I can make one up, but I have no idea. I haven't been watching it all day whatsoever. And then NBEV made a beautiful move after, but it's just, well, when I say beautiful move, it made a big move up. It's not beautiful whatsoever. It is an ugly, ugly, ugly looking stock, but it looks like we're still getting some money, new buying that's coming in towards these highs. So 3 is not out of the question, or in the real near term. It's just that it's just way too shaky for me. I like smooth trading stocks that don't really act like this, and it's just kind of all over the place. But overall, I mean, it's still something to look at based off the new buying that we're continuing to see come in. Another one to look at is Facebook. Now, Facebook is coming down to that 160. Remember yesterday we had some huge buying at that 160 level. I can see a volume spike here that came in at 160 before, but I was at lunch. I have no idea what the actual prints there were. Does anybody know? Was anyone watching it when that happened? I'm looking back up in the chat real quick, but I don't see anything there. But certainly something I'm going to try to look back for to see if I'm able to see, because we did get a volume spike there, and I'm going to have to assume on a pullback up like that was selling print. So we're going to have to see what we get at 160 again. But overall, that person at 160 did not make all their money. All right. So overall, hold on one second, guys. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so overall, I'm still just going to be looking at 160 and still looking for that move down. And the reason I'm still looking for that move down is because the amount of selling we saw when it did, don't get me wrong, a price target yesterday was 158. It did hit 158.25, but not on enough selling. And then even today, there's not enough covering to come into to show us that this move towards that downside is over. So 160 should definitely give us a lot of information. All right, so I did not have a chance to look at the scanners yet, but as of based off the volume that I see going on out there, I don't really see too much that we're going to be able to do anything with. Oh, VKTX, excuse me, VKTX was on our list. Am I looking at the wrong thing? Looks like I am. Okay, yes, VKTX coming in. Beautiful move. We talked about it in this morning's meeting, and remember, all of our meetings I'm posting on YouTube now. So on our YouTube channel, if you miss a meeting, you can go on there ahead of the charts, and you'll be able to read, be able to listen what we talked about. So we had beautiful selling at 22.50. We had beautiful selling at 22. We needed a pull up before we ended up coming back down, and that's exactly what ended up happening. We ended up getting pull up and just a beautiful overall short. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal, all the way down, to our lows right here of 18. So it didn't hit 18. It's kind of stuck in consolidation. I don't really see too much else that's going on out there. that really shows me we'll be able to get much, but there is a $6 range within it, so there's no reason we can't see another 50 cents. I am going to keep that on our list for this afternoon as well. VKTX. And moving along, we have IGC 7 million, which made a nice move, but just not a type of stock, way too quanti. I don't really trade those. NBEV, we've already spoken about. Cron, very interesting this morning. We spoke about a whole bunch during class time. We worked on what to expect for the rest of the day based off what we saw in the pre-market. And so far, I saw that big selling before that came in at 12, but there was buying that came in first. So it's a very iffy area there. But the amount of selling that we saw coming in at 12, which it's not going to let me go back to, just isn't even close to the amount of buying that we saw that's still back up here. So certainly something that we're still going to be keeping our eye on. Coming down to that print line should tell us a lot. 1155 and then 1150, obviously, we're going to be looking for some control prints to show. Facebook had 4 AS prints at 160. Okay. So overall, it's you know what? We're gonna continue to watch, especially with that much selling that we saw at 20. I didn't see where the prints are, and sometimes you get those ask prints first, and they're followed by what looks like bid prints, but it's actually not selling. That's a whole other story. But we'll watch this coming in. I mean, there's no reason we can't see some type of movement once we get back to that print line, but I'm not expecting a ton. Okay, when I see the overall volume in the market, almost on all the everyday stocks, like I said, our Facebooks, our Babas, our AMDs. When I see the overall volume this low, I don't expect too much more of a range from a lot. Coming over, we have NXEO 4.7, absolutely not, and in ENPH, nothing going on there either. I mean, it's got a nice move, but just not even close to enough volume to trade a quantity stock like that. And the losers list is pretty weak. I mean, there's nothing really here that I see that has too much really going on with it. I mean, it's just it's pretty much it. Just a lot of low volume stocks going on out there. But at the end of the day, it's we had a phenomenal morning. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better morning, especially with that TLRY. I put every aspect of everything that needed to be known to be able to trade it. I put when the trigger came back out, so I hope a lot of you were able to get that because it only takes one. Okay, it takes one trade, and in this case, one monster trade for us to be able to just cash in big time. All right, anything else out there that I missed? All right. Yep. So, anything else that pops up? I know, it's like I said, just a very slow afternoon. Remember, we have classes that we're going to be getting at 3. So I'll be sending out that link shortly. And then anything else that pops up, it's funny because as we're talking about TLRY, perfect case scenario. Man, it comes up to 154 on a push, doesn't hit it, trigger down, and it's just been a phenomenal short ever since then. So that's just a textbook trade as we were talking that we saw coming back in. So it just keeps giving us trades throughout the entire day, and especially when you have such a big range on something like this. I mean, these trades are not small trades whatsoever. All right, guys, so I will talk to everyone in the chat room, and happy trading.